reviewing how to conjugate our ER verbs. So regardless of what group of verb we're talking about, all regular verbs are going to conjugate by following the same two steps. The very first thing we're going to do with any regular verb, whether it's ER, IR, or RE, is we're going to find the stem. You do this by dropping the last two letters from the infinitive, the ones that you looked at to figure out what kind of verb it was. The stem will then become the beginning of every single one of your 6 conjugations. This is how we know which infinitive it is that we're conjugating. So for example, the verb aimer, to like or to love, we look at the last two letters, it's an ER verb, so we get rid of those and everything that's left is our stem, M, A-I-M. Another example is manger, the verb to eat. Another ER verb because it ends in an ER, so we get rid of those last two letters and we're left with mange, M-A-N-G. That will be our stem that we use to begin every single one of our conjugation. Then we add the endings in order. It's extremely important that you remember the endings in this order because that's the only way to make sure that your subject and your verb match. The endings are also the only thing that are going to change between verb groups. So every single verb group, whether it's ER, RE, or IR, you'll start by finding the stem and then you'll add a set of endings. But the 3 sets of endings are all different. For regular ER verbs, the endings are E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. This is the part of the verb that actually matches the subject. So if we put this together, we're going to conjugate the verb aimer, to like or to love. The first thing we did was find the stem by dropping the ER off of the end. Aimer becomes M. This is the beginning of every single one of our conjugations. It goes in the beginning of every single one of our 6 boxes. That's how we know which infinitive it is we're talking about. But each one of these 6 boxes can't use the same conjugation. We have to have a different verb for every one of our subjects. So in order to do that, we add our endings in order. E, ES, E, ONS, EZ, ENT. M, 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 aimant, aimé, M. Note that 4 of those conjugations sound the exact same. E, ES, and ENT are all silent endings. J'aime, tu aimes, il aime, and il aime, the verb sounds the exact same. We can see the difference when we write, but they sound the exact same. The only 2 that sound any different are aimons, nous aimons, and aimer, vous aimez. Remember that each conjugation can be translated one of 3 different ways. It can be translated in the present. It can be translated in the present progressive, which is the ing form. And it can be translated as a question by putting a do in front and a question mark at the end. So for example, if I take the sentence, tu aimes le français, that could mean you like French, just as a general statement. Or, tu aimes le français could mean you are liking French, like you're liking French right this second. Or, if we throw a question mark on the end, and we raise our voice at the end of the phrase, tu aimes le français, it becomes a question, which in English we put a do in the beginning. We say, do you like French? The verb itself hasn't changed at all. Your note, it's tu aimes in every single one of those translations. One last point. If the stem begins with a vowel, which is A, E, I, O, or U, it will contract with a je to form J apostrophe. So in proper French, we would never say je aime. we're going to contract those two words together and say j'aime. J'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, on aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, elles aiment.